MSMEs is really a common occurrence for all ASEAN countries, with or without FICs, I guess. Another reason would be to provide value addition to the raw materials or agricultural produce given by Laos, and also to improve the quality and competitiveness of their products. Brunei considered the establishment and production of halal products, and also to develop the entrepreneurship of the MSMEs. Now, for the second question, who would be the agency lead for FIC operation establishment? Because of the differing government structures among the Asian countries, I think the agencies would be coming from different agencies. Brunei would have a multi-agency lead. Cambodia would be the Ministry of Agriculture, Fishery and Forestry, while for Laos, it would be the Department of Technology and Innovation, similar to the Ministry of Science and Technology. For Myanmar, it would be under the Ministry of Education through the Yangon Technological University or YTU. Whereas for Vietnam, it would be under the Vietnam Institute of Agricultural Engineering, a university, with collaboration with the Institute of Food Industry under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry or Trade. So the lead agency would be all coming from government institutions, and most of those institutes would be universities under the Ministry of, under the government. Now for the third question, what would be the model that would be suited or be adopted by the country? Brunei and Cambodia answer the triple helix, or the ABG, the academic, the industry or business and government, while Myanmar and Vietnam answered like a hybrid between the Malaysian model and the Singaporean model. But Vietnam leans a little bit toward the Malaysian model, while Laos proposed an interprofessional institution. I think this would be like a multidisciplinary institution model. And for the last question, how would you communicate the chosen model to your champion? I guess most of the answers would be referring to consultations among stakeholders that would be participating in the establishment of the FIC. So, potential experts within the country, and then a proposal or a party proposal in the establishment of FIC, links, local linkage and regional in ASEAN countries. And Cambodia would be looking at some big support from the Ministry of Economic and Finance, and they would be working on competition plan. This is for like an incentive for those doing food innovations, and they would be asking the industry to contribute funding for R&D. While Laos would be studying the ASEAN experience, those ASEAN member states with FICs, and they would be piloting simple value chain analysis of the agricultural produce. While Myanmar, the focal person under the Subcommittee on Food Science and Technology and the head of the department of the university under the Department of Chemical Engineering would be most likely would be collaborating with each other to come up with proposals for the establishment of the FIC. In a similar way, Vietnam would be having the focal person of Subcommittee of Food Science and Technology to communicate to the national government the necessary funds and ways on how they could set up the FIC. So there are similar answers to some questions, while, for example, on the models, there will be those patterns from the existing models presented earlier. And there would be some, we will be seeing new models maybe after these best practices workshops. So we'll be seeing like a hybrid model coming out from the other three. So this is the summary of the AMS with potential to establish FIC.
Thank you, Engineer Baldan. To repeat, we have heard a very promising and encouraging response relative to the need to establish FIC, all for the love of the SMEs from these countries. And further, we also heard that these countries are into the adoption of the triple helix, meaning collaboration amongst the industry, government, and academia, and also a future aggressive collaboration for neighboring countries like Malaysia and Singapore, for Myanmar and Vietnam. And as what Engineer Bagan said, it's not far-fetched that we would also be seeing a hybrid of the FIC. And then, lastly, we have heard that there is a critical role of the respective focal persons of the ASEAN countries relative to the role of the subcommittee focal persons on food science and technology. So that's it, and we look forward that all these plans will push through with the help, of course, of your neighboring countries as well. Okay, let's give a big hand for all the AMS with the potential to establish FIC. Now, we'd like to hear more from, this time, the AMS with established FICs. Let us hear from Dr. Annabel Briones, the outputs of this group.
Good afternoon. For the AMS with the existing FICs, we just reviewed the key questions that were given to the group. These include Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. So the key topics are what best practices from other ASEAN AMS can you implement in your existing FIC network in terms of organizational structure, R&D, financial sustainability scheme, techno transfer and technical services. And then the second key topic is how will you implement these recommended best practices to the existing FIC system network in your state. Now we have summarized or synthesized the key responses from the different ASEAN member states, and then we group that, summarize that into so the common responses for the organizational structure and financial sustainability scheme is to develop multidisciplinary pool of experts, establish network amongst FICs, develop business structure models, which is composed of the management, R&D, advisory, tech transfer, and finance, and then a value chain approach model for the organizational structure. Now, for the financial sustainability scheme, this would include the funding sources from the government, private sector, the four modes of FIC engagement, which is the use of facilities, the contract research, and so forth, and then IP-derived royalties. For the technology transfer and technical services, first for the technology transfer, we have the technology availability from one-stop center. And there must be a fair share of royalties for technology developers. For the technical services, must engage in process re-engineering and design and create available technical services that are needs-driven. For the R&D, develop value-based and innovation-driven economy, allocate funds for R&D activities, innovating local wisdom, Okay, let me continue. So for the R&D, develop value-based and innovation-driven economy, allocate funds for R&D activities. Next is the innovating local wisdom, and then provide incentive scheme for researchers. One country says that equal opportunities for the regular employees as well as the contractual employees. And then for the implementation scheme, this include the benchmarking activities in ASEAN member states, propose for institutionalization of best practices among the AMS, strengthening the government, industry, academe partnership or the triple helix, and then recommend business models to government lead agencies for food innovation centers. So this is all for the AMS with existing food innovation centers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Annabelle. Based on what I've summarized also from the summary, relative to the organizational structure, it appears that most of these existing FICs would be adopting, are in the value chain approach, and they would match their strategies, their organizational structure based on the strategies and the business model. And for the funding sources, they will take more advantage in the future government and private sector funding. And it is also prominent that for the techno transfer, these AMS are into the one-stop center business model. For the R&D, focus is on the funding for R&D and the incentives scheme for the researchers. And for the implementation scheme, they would prioritize, of course, benchmarking the neighboring ASEAN countries, and of course, strengthen the triple helix collaboration. So, is there any question from the participants, or all your outputs have been taken into consideration from the reports? Are they? Okay. If there are no more questions, I would like to turn over now to Dr. Asansa for the closing remarks.
Again, thank you very much for coming to the meeting and sharing your knowledge. Related to FIC, there's so much to learn, especially from Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and of course for those who intend to establish and operate their own FIC, the learnings that we have now can be something that will shorten the development and operation of your FIC, so you don't have to go through the process of what we have experienced. Take the good things from us and leave the bad things from us, and re-engineer what the concept of the FIC. It's always the funding, our champion, finding our champion for the government, and the sustainability of the FIC will always be driven by proposals that we give to our government for us to be able to have the MSN. And this is true for the Philippines. Anything that we want to do in terms of the FIC, we have to do it also through the funding of the government in its sustainability. And hopefully, we realize what Malaysia have realized in terms of the FIC, having able to be their own moving company for the technologies that they develop, and being able to market it on their own without necessarily providing the national treasury reserve. That would be the day that we're all able to realize it, then we have made our mark, not only in helping the food industries in our country, but also helping ourselves as researchers from the food industry. Tonight we will have a cultural night. We were expecting and we were praying not to rain, so we will have that in the open garden, but it's raining now. So we're celebrating our cultural night indoors again. And then after which the foreign guests will have an opportunity to work with us in our main FIC, not only to see what we have in terms of the FIC equipment. We have other FICs. We have other equipment that we can share with you in our pilot program. Hopefully, we will learn from you as well as you learn from us. So, good day, and hope to see you tonight.
I would just like to repeat the announcements made earlier. For the feedback form, may we request